Hello and welcome to iDIVAS. For those of you who don't know, I'm Tricia and I'm passionate about inspiring women to not just hang in there, but to thrive. Whether you're celebrating Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, or any other holiday, the celebration is supposed to be, happy and a perfect time to reconnect with relatives that you haven't seen in a while. However, sometimes family dynamics can be challenging, especially during the holiday season or during, family events such as funerals, weddings, family reunions. When you have an overbearing, toxic family member. If you have a narcissistic family tree, like most of us do, keep watching. I've got your back. I have a few tips to help you survive the holidays with toxic family members. These tips have worked for me, so I'm sure, when applied correctly, they probably will work for you too. So let's dive into this. First, I want to say, I really get irritated when people say stuff like, they're still your family. Listen, just because someone is related to you does not mean you are obligated to break bread with them and let them drain the life out of you if they are toxic. Blood means nothing sometimes. It took me a while to get it, but it's true. Blood means nothing sometimes. Don't fall for the okie doke by allowing other family members to guilt you into entertaining, someone who isn't good for your mental well-being. It's important to draw strict boundaries for yourself. If you don't do so, it's easy for you to be pushed over by others, especially since people, they tend not to be conscious of personal boundaries. So, you'll wind up shrinking in a corner and feeling miserable the whole evening, and you really don't want that, right? So, my best advice is try not to sit next to the toxic family member at the table, or also try not taking the bait as they ramble on and on about politics as well. And don't accept nasty remarks. Physically leave the room when they say something that is offensive. That's always an option. Women are notorious for being people pleasers. So we need to ask ourselves, if we need to be around this toxic person, or if we go along with him or her because we feel obligated to for whatever reasons. This puts us in control and can help us preserve our sanity and our dignity. Furthermore, act on it by refusing to engage in certain topics and, trying to, get others on board as well. The more people who stay on code, the better. You see, these toxic family members have a strong need to be the center of attention. They need a captive audience to dump the mess that's flying out of their mouths on. The more attention you give them, the more they'll keep going on and on and on. So you really need to draw clear boundaries that, should shut them down immediately. And don't answer rude or intrusive questions with real answers. You can use humor or, my favorite, sarcasm to deflect, or just answer the question with a question. Because you don't owe anyone an answer if you feel the question was meant to embarrass or put you down. You must always stay 3 streets ahead of these people by flipping the script on them and beating them at their own game. The goal here is to put the focus on them instead of you. Also, I find that when you act bored, uninterested, and as disengaged as possible. Toxic people find it less exciting to try to manipulate you. It takes a bit of acting, but it's easy. During every interaction with a toxic person, the trick is to speak in a monotone voice. Talk about boring subjects like the weather, rocks, who cares? It just has to be boring. And don't make direct eye contact with them either. And give very short, generic answers too. It's okay too, just to say, I'd rather not talk about it, and then don't. You got to follow through. Likewise, avoid asking them personal questions about, their lives. And if the toxic person tries to get a rise out of you, don't engage emotionally at all. Don't even let it show on your face. Keep a very stone cold reaction. If things do explode, always handle disagreements discreetly in private. Again, toxic people usually want an audience, so try and resolve issues, away from the crowd. And, have an exit strategy. If their behavior spins out of control, get up, leave, and don't feel guilty. Or, if you're the host, politely show this person the door. Remember, distancing yourself doesn't necessarily mean you hate the person. In fact, it really doesn't mean that at all, or that you want them to feel bad. It simply means that you respect yourself. And sooner or later, the person may get the message and change their behavior, but to be very frank, I would not hold my breath for that. Toxic people rarely change for the better, or even want to, because often, they lack self-awareness. Most of the time, toxic people behave the same way around other people too. I had this very negative relative. The person always had something to criticize whenever we're together. And at first, I thought the person had something against me. But after I observed them, really start to see how they interact with other people in the family, I realized that this person was extremely negative with everyone else too. Finally realizing that it wasn't anything personal really helped me deal with this individual objectively and not waste energy. Dealing with toxic people can take truckloads of energy. They are exhausting. They can exhaust you with their entitlement, their bullying ways, and their lack of respect for other people's boundaries. They believe wholeheartedly that they are above the law. It's not your job to give them, a piece of your mind, especially at a family gathering. You don't have to step up to every battle or that you're called to, because doing so will mentally drain you and rob you of your happiness. For many toxic people, conflicts is their way to connect. That's all they know. It's the way they feel alive, noticed, and important. That's not your problem. You need to save your energy for the people who matter at the gathering. Make a conscious effort to mix and mingle, with family members who are actually there to have a good time. It's a good idea to get centered and relaxed the day before attending an event where you're gonna, see this toxic family member. If the person always triggers you, meditate or exercise a day ahead of time and take deep breaths. when you're around this person. This will help you to really remain calm and not react. The best way to address, the situation is to change how you perceive it and how you respond to it. By changing that, everything else will subsequently change as well. That said, don't fool yourself into thinking this person has changed. Whenever you're about to interact with a toxic family member, remind yourself how toxic the person is. After going months or even years without speaking to this problematic family member, it can be easy to get sucked in and forget how toxic they actually are. So be prepared for how this person is going to act or will most likely act, so you can react appropriately without being taken off guard. I hope this makes sense. That's it. I hope you got something meaningful out of this video, and let me know if you tried some of these tips, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next